Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome to the stream. It's a Monday, beginning of the week, and well, when I looked to see what color the light should be, I actually had 0, 0, 0 across the board, so it was flat. So I noticed it has switched into the red a tiny bit right now, 0.03. But you know what? I'm not going to do a light today. No light because it's too close to call, and I have a feeling it might move back and forth. If it really plunges while we're looking at the charts, I'll change the light color. But I think for the most part, I think we're okay with a blue. So welcome to the stream. Welcome, of course. This is the Financial Express. So through December, one of the things that we're doing is we're giving you guys the opportunity. If you want a market close every day, there's a pathway to get there. And the pathway, well, it goes through channel memberships. Channel memberships, super stickers, super chats, all of that stuff. So if we get 4 of them in a stream, we add another show. We add another show to the next day. So that is open today. So if you want a show tomorrow on Tuesday, you know what to do. You know what to do. I do want to also address, oh boy, those of you who were here yesterday, I tried OBS out and it was a train wreck. It was absolutely a train wreck. We are on StreamYard today. I spent a good chunk of the day. Well, I spent a good chunk of the day editing, but I spent a good chunk of this afternoon trying to get this piece of software to do what I wanted to do to put comments up on the screen. I will tell you, I got comments up on the screen, but not in the way I wanted it, because I want to be able to just put a single comment on the screen. So when I want to be able to pick and choose, I don't want like a stream of bubbles that come up with all the comments, and I don't want that. So after a while, after I struggled and finally got this thing to work, I then realized it was doing absolutely something I didn't want. So I'm back to the grinding board, back to the idea board. I'm going to test some stuff out tomorrow, but right now, I gotta have that control so that we can bring up your comments. So, and speaking of comments, well, we have a gifted Mountain Finance membership. So that means, oh boy, that means we've got ourselves a goat. So here we go. We got a goat. We'll open up the corral, our first greatest of all time. Now, guys, you guys know I have 4 goats, 1 for each. But if we want, on those days we hit the 5th, I had to resort to a beaver. Well, I'm happy to say we've got a 5th goat. I brought in another goat. So if we get to it today, tomorrow, the next day, whatever, we will. You'll get to see the new beaver, the new goat. The new goat, what can I say? Not the beaver, And it's not a beaver dressed up as a goat either, just to be clear for sure. All right. Whew, what can we say? Well, I know what we can say. Let's jump on over to the charts. Well, that's not a chart. I can't believe I didn't pull that up. I can. I was uploading the new video and all of that fun stuff. So we'll get this here going here in a second. Let's see here. This is the one. There, right there. I had to peer around the camera so that I could see it. And it is there. I have to click this button here to pull it up. All right. So here we go. Here is our TSX. As you can see, we've drifted down a little bit. It's, you know what? Is it a green day? Nope. It is a red day. Let's head over into the red here. That's a little too fuchsia. Red. Oh, there we go. That's red. All right. And you watch, it'll turn around now that I've done this. But all right, so we got our red day. What can I say? So we are currently down 0.07%, but we're still above the blue line. And those of you who don't know what that blue line is, that's where we ended November. So if we're above that blue line, we're having a green December. If we're below it, we're having a red. So in a way, the nice list, the naughty list. I like that. I just thought of that right now. Yeah, that's where we're at. Looking, of course, south of the border, we'll head over here to the S&P 500. Let's collapse that a little bit. They are also having a red day. They're down 0.06, and gosh, they are on the naughty list side. So they're having a red month. Although the last hour, their last candle has been green, and we'll see if they can. Well, technically, this candle, because of the fact that the market closes at 4, I think this candle, it's green. We'll leave it alone. I'm not gonna. I was gonna explain something, but then I'm like, no, because it's so confusing. It confuses me. So I'm just gonna leave that be. Looking at the NASDAQ having an even worse day than everybody else, down 41, so 0.41%. And they're also well on that naughty list side. So down into a red December so far. The Dow Jones, mostly flat. They are down 0.02, but once again, they're pretty high above the blue line. I'm liking that. And of course, our small cap stocks, the Russell, it's above the blue line, but we are having a bit of a green or a red candle here just to end the day. They are down 0.72. All right, looking at our commodities, gold is up a wee bit, up 0.16, but silver's up 3.32. So that's not too shabby. Copper also up 1.19. Oil is down 1.10, and Bitcoin and Ethereum both down. Pretty big set of red candles here going on. And Bitcoin, oh boy, heading back to that 85,000 support. So we will have to see what is going to go on with that for sure. Heading to our heat map. Let's get our heat map up here. We got a good amount of red. There is a good amount of red in the heat map. I'm seeing Dollarama down 1.41%. And I did mention I had a play on Dollarama. I got out of it this morning and in profit. I wasn't feeling good for the rest of the day. Plus, it was designed to be a one-day trade. I meant the Dollarama trade to be a Friday thing. It kind of carried on into this morning, but I did get out with a profit. Yeah, we got a few other things. Constellation Software's up today, up 1%. The banks are looking okay. Most of them are up a little bit. TD up 0.71, BMO up 0.41, Manulife Financial up 0.76. So not a bad day for finance. That's for sure. Over in the energy area sector, of course, with oil down, you gotta expect them to be down. We got C&Q down a full percent. Imperial Oil down almost 2%. Synovus down 2.36%. Oh boy. Well, let's jump south of the border. See if we got anything we can sing home about. Not a lot. A lot of red. Look at this. Apple down 1.48. Microsoft down 0.56. Yeah, interesting. Meta though. Meta is up today, 1.14. And I'll tell you. Normally, guys, I share some of the swing trades. I share those with channel members, but I will tell you this right now. I did make a play on Meta this morning. I wasn't planning to go all day, but I made a play, and it was profitable, and it's already closed. But nonetheless, yeah, Meta did make a move to the upside. Another really interesting one is look at Tesla. Tesla up 4.61. I've been looking for an entry point into Tesla for a swing, and they're just not coming back. They just keep on going up day after day. So what can I say? And finally looking at crypto. Oh boy, a lot of red over here. As you can see, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP down another 5%. Oh boy. Solana down 3.63%. Now, it is tradition here to head on over and to take a look at one of these altcoins, and preferably a coin I've never heard of. All right. Oh, come on, guys. There we go. I'm just trying to get in here nice and deep. Nice and deep. All right. So there's more than 15,000 of these altcoins out here. I'm going to grab it is a red day for crypto. We'll grab a green one. Ooh, there's a little green one right there. I'm going to pull this here up. And this here is Rismus. What the heck? Merry Rismus, everyone. Here's an altcoin for you. It's worth so little that they have to use exponents to tell you the price. So this basically means e to the -5. It means move that thing 5 more places that way, and you'll get your price. But anyway, whatever this Rismus thing about, it feels like a rug pull. It's like leaving out milk bones for Santa. It's not. I don't know. I'm not interested in this coin. I don't know what it does. Don't care what it does. The reason I come here is I want to illustrate that there's a lot of these altcoins out there. I call them crap coins, not because they stink, and they usually do stink, but because it's like going to the casino, playing a game of craps, throwing your dice. Guys, the dice aren't in your favor. They're in the favor of the house. The house always wins. Be careful with these. If you're interested in Rismus, then at least read the white paper. Make sure it makes sense to you before you get into it. Otherwise, I think you should stick with the big coins. Your Bitcoins, your Ethereums, your XRP, Solana, and gosh darn it, even the Dogecoin. Even the Dogecoin is a good one to sit with for sure. All right. Let's hit the chat. Let's hit the chat, and not only hit the chat. We've got a minute and a half to the bell. Last week, I was pretty good with the bell, other than one epic miss. But I'm going to be good this week. I'm going to be good. All right. Brian is the first one in the house with a good afternoon. All right. CSA and CIRO released guidance for Finfluencer on Thursday last week. A lot of detail on the general advice exemption. It's something you might want to have a good look at. CSA is watching. Yes, they are. Yeah, there's a lot of rules that surround finfluencing, or just investment advice and things like that. Now, it's kind of a really interesting. A lot of it's a gray area. There's a big gray area. Now, I'll tell you things that you can get in trouble for. So if you guys remember, recently I did a video on bank. Now, it was sponsored. I was paid to do that video. If I did not label it as sponsored, oh boy, that can get you in some very serious water. There have been YouTubers, at least one in Canada that I can remember, that have been sued. Sued by security commissions for not doing that. So that's one of the big areas. And the other thing is it's all around individualized advice. So if I sit here and say, Brian, here's the 5 stocks you need to own. I can't do that. Now, I can talk about individual stocks. I can talk about what I think is good, but I can't tell you exactly which stocks you should have in your portfolio. Obviously, investing is a very individualized thing. I'm keeping track of the time at the same time here because I'm on the verge of a tangent. But yeah, no, investing is very individualized, and what stock is right for Brian may not be right for me, may not be right for Rory. So we all have to sort of look at it that way. And, it is important. Like, my role here is technically I would be considered a broadcaster in this circumstances. So, and it's kind of funny. The rules are I can't individually tell one person, this is the stock you have to have. But I can tell a mass of people this is a good stock. And you'll notice it's a little bit different. It's just, and it all has to do with how many people you're talking to. It's kind of a funny thing. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of rules out there, and I know that there are groups out there that want things to be even stricter, and it could get stricter. It could get stricter. There could be situations in the future where, I might have to choose my words a little more carefully. But I think one of the areas they're not coming, like they're not after somebody like me. They're after they're after the people who are blatantly abusing the system and coming after. And guys, the market is closed. The market is closed. I was about 15 seconds late. I was about 15 seconds late. Oh boy. But yeah, so they're not technically coming after somebody like me, but they are definitely coming. Any of the people who are abusing it, people who are pumping and dumping for their own gains, people who are blatantly crossing the line, those are the people they're after. Those are the people they're after for sure. But yeah, as a YouTuber in this space, I certainly do need to keep track and pay attention. And pay attention to rules changes, all of that fun stuff. Brian says, depending on your content, you may need to be registered as an advisor or a sponsored dealer. Yeah, but there's another thing too. Like if you are, so let's say, for example, if I was a financial advisor, well, I may not be a financial advisor. It may not be legal for me to be a financial advisor in every province because I think it goes by security groups. Regulatory bodies. So you've got the Ontario one, Alberta has one, for example. And even then, even if I was a financial advisor, I would not be any, if I was broadcasting, I wouldn't be the financial advisor for any of you. So that in itself would actually be a problem. So you could be a financial advisor and be given financial advice, like direct financial advice, in a setting like this, and you could get yourself in trouble for that as well. It really boils down to, and I've heard a few financial advisors who have channels where they're like, I'm a financial advisor, but I'm not your financial advisor. So that's kind of, yeah, you got to really, at the end of the day, and this is something I need to be cognizant of, and you guys need to be cognizant of, is that it is your money. I got no business with your money. None, zero. What I can do is I can show you how to look at stocks. I can show you how to read fundamentals. I can share what I do. All of that is perfectly fine. But I can't sit down, like I said, Brian, I can't sit down and tell you that you absolutely need to have stock A, B, and C. That needs to be your portfolio. It's just something that you'll get in trouble for. You'll get in trouble for sure. All right. Brian says top 10s will hold some risk as being an advisor. Channel structure and video titles need to be well thought out. Maybe we're still sort of looking at, and this is the thing. I've seen a few people drop some videos all about it, and that they're worried. They're worried, like, oh my God, this is going to be really, really bad. Not necessarily. Now, and keep in mind, here's the thing. If I say top 10, it depends on what the criteria is. Like if I say top 10 total return stocks, for this year, if I'm actually pulling the top 10, like if I am, using a screener and I'm pulling out the actual top 10 stocks by total return, and I provide all of the criteria, that's a little bit different than if I say these are the absolute top 10 stocks that you need to own. Then, that becomes a little bit different. And that's kind of the way, and that is part of that packaging, right? So, if these are the top 10 with the highest return on equity that are also above this value, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to get in trouble for that. Now, mind you, if I get in trouble, I will come back and I'll say, yeah, I got in trouble for that. So I think we're good. Claude says, hello, HBTE, where are you? You once were king of the hill, but now you're fallen. Yeah, and HBTE today, it should be down. It should be down with Bitcoin retreating close to 85,000. That will, of course, HBTE should definitely feel some of that. Anything with crypto exposure, should be feeling something for sure. Relaxing rains, good day all. Beautiful morning it was for buying HHIS and MSTE. So yeah, once again, crypto exposure, prices are down. Well, not so much. HHIS, I mean, they have a little bit. They have a strategy in there. But at the same time, there was a little bit, the NASDAQ was down, so HHIS would benefit from that as well. All right, Paul says, good afternoon. And we got Cowboy in the house with the greetings all. Elaine says, good afternoon. And Brian says, my phone won't stop buzzing with messages today. 13 different dividends. How? Yes, I'm sure that's annoying. It's like, yeah, we're giving you money. We're giving you more money. Here's some more money. Yeah, I don't know if that would be super, I wouldn't find that annoying. That to me is a happy problem. Doorpat says, hello, y'all. Hey, hey, hey. All right. Let's see. Yeah, exactly, Claude. I would like to have those problems. Like, keep telling me I got more money. I will not I will not be upset about that. Roku is in the house with a good afternoon, everyone. Yay for StreamYard. Good morning, everyone. I know. It was like, I was legitimately surprised that I couldn't just pop the comments up on the screen with OBS. And it was just, and I found out quite literally as I opened up the stream yesterday. I'm like, darn it. So yeah, now I'm testing, and even today I actually was streaming earlier today, but it was private. It was a private stream, just to test a few things. And like I said, it was a headache. It was a big headache. I think I know a way to move forward with that, but I'm going to test it to death. It needs to be working. It needs to be satisfactory. The rest of this month, I'm probably just going to use the StreamYard unless I get it there fast. But yeah, I need the comments. You guys want to? I mean, when I'm talking to Morley, for example, Morley wants to see his name or her name. I'm not sure. But that's the whole thing. Here's Paul with Green Day here. Nice. Probably more than one way because you're on the West Coast. All rain, probably too much rain, but it's cold here in Ottawa. Very, very cold. Tesla trying 480 for the close. Nice. We'll have to, once I got the final prices at 415, we'll have to check, see if Tesla made the 480. Balik is in the house with a hey all. Brian says, I'm green today, up 0.18% in my TFSA and 0.48 in my RRSP. Nice. Jonathan says, let's get down to altcoin town. It's interesting. Now, I'll tell you guys right now, I've put out a survey to the channel members. I might actually send the survey to everybody else too. I think I just wanted to hear the channel members first, because every year I like to make some changes on the channel, just sort of to move forward, and got some ideas in the survey. And one of the interesting ideas, and Jonathan is one of the people who mentioned this. The news. I used to do the news on This Week in the morning on Sundays. I had my little pictures and all of that fun stuff. At one point they were all from Beaver World, so I had a bunch of beavers. And that actually comes from Bill C-11. That's the Online Streaming Act. Now they have at one point it looked like if you weren't deemed Canadian content, you were going to have some problems on YouTube. Well, luckily that was all an overreaction by a lot of YouTubers. And it has come out just recently that that's not the case, that YouTube is exempt. So, well, I don't want to say YouTube is exempt, but typical regular YouTubers are exempt. If you're a big if you're a big media corporation on YouTube, you're not exempt. But regular YouTubers, yeah, we don't have to worry about it. So anyway, I jokingly said, I'll just put a beaver in every episode. And that's where the beaver world came from. And we still have some leftover beaver. So on my videos, my subscribe, I got a beaver there for that. I just kind of like that one. And we also have our beaver for if you got, if you hit that 5th. Well, not now, because now we've got an extra beaver, an extra goat. So maybe we'll find out today. I don't know. But we do have an extra goat. And I will tell you, when I first watched this new goat video, I did laugh. I thought it was funny. All right, Larry is in the house. Oh, sorry. Larry, we just pushed Larry back outside for a second. Yeah, so what I was getting to with Jonathan is that, so yeah, when we changed, I've been kind of messing around with that news format. Like, I like the news, but it just wasn't, I just didn't feel like it was working, but I want to bring it back in. So in the new year, one change that is going to happen is the market close will begin at 3:30 instead of 3:45. That way there, I'd like to sort of do a tiny bit of that news right there. So the cover maybe maybe the one story of the day that's driving the market the most. So, a little bit of market analysis can fit into that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about for the new year. So that will begin in January. I almost thought about doing it in December, but with Financial Express, I was like, let's just get through the Financial Express. We'll start it. We'll start at the beginning of the year. Okay, now, all right, we'll bring Larry back in. Let's see. Trump live White House stream just reiterated looking into using an executive order to reclassify weed to enable medical studies, research, and health relief. Okay, interesting. Now, that, and I haven't seen exactly what the wording is, but that there, once again, kind of goes against what I think a lot of people were thinking recreational. I think a lot of people were thinking recreational when we had that big jump on Friday on the weed stocks. Now, and here's the thing, guys, I'm kind of curious. What are those weed stocks doing today? I never really noticed when we were over there. Let's take a quick gander. Let's take a quick gander here. Well, actually, oh my gosh. Oh, that's Bitcoin. I was like, what happened? Did the market die? No, but the TSX did finish a little bit in the red. But that's not why we're here. We were here to check on some of those weed stocks. Let's see here. Where the heck? See, they're so small they're not even showing up anymore. Let's see here. That's Cura. MX. I thought they were in with the process industrial. GTII. I think that's one. Yeah, look at this. Let me just pull this one up here. Let's grab the overview on it. So Green Thumb Industries. I am assuming that this is one. But first of all, heck, let me pull it up. Yeah, because you can see the giant pump. And then look at this. And this is what I've been warning. This is what I've been talking about. I've been talking about this, is that watch out, that we may get that pump, and then, as the hype dies, well, look what happens. So, and I'm just assuming that this is a weed stock. I don't know 100%. GTI. Well, let's find out. Let's find out, because I want to make sure that I'm not barking up the wrong tree. GTII. So Green Thumb Industries. Here we go. We'll pull it up here. Let's see here. Bang, 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 and then bang. Oh, boy. Let's see here. Yeah, cannabis. That's what I thought. So, and I don't know if this has happened with every stock, but this is kind of that thing I was concerned about. So just something to keep in mind. All right, let's get back here once again. Rory says hello again. CNQ to hit $40 again if oil stays lower. Well, maybe. Cowboy saw a video on the regulators coming after finance YouTubers. Think the should start with crooked car. Oh boy. Oh, cowboy, how did I know that you were going there? How did I know? I should have actually I should have known better. Dave, David says, now, ring the bell now. Yes, I was a few seconds. I was, well, probably closer to 30 seconds if I'm being truthful. Um, Scott says, late joining. Good afternoon, all. Of course, Financial Express on the way. We have one so far, so we're 3 away from a show tomorrow. Cowboy down the rabbit hole. And we got Mary in the house. We got Mary in the house with a good old hello. Hi, Mary. How are you? Mary, of course, is our official captain of the like button. So, guys, if you haven't hit that button yet, just go down, click it, turn it blue. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to have some coffee since you're going to be busy for the next 10, not 10, but 2 seconds. Very, very good. Seasonal coffee. This is a pumpkin one. Rory says, like the Motley Fool. Oh, God. I despise the the Motley Fool. I hate the Motley Fool. I will say this. If any time you look at their free content, sometimes it's not bad. But if you look at the stuff behind their paywall, it's atrocious. It's atrocious. They'll occasionally give out some good advice on the front end to try to get you onto the paid end. They're flim flam guys for sure. Flim flammers. There we go. They're flim flammers. All right. Jonathan saying hi to Mary. And Brian says, I like your opinion as always. I have said before, I don't always agree with your picks, and that is absolutely fine. Your information is valuable. Our goals are not the same. Total returns, yes. Yeah, exactly. And I will give you guys a thing. When I make picks, a lot of times, and I don't know if people get this, a lot of times I'll present, if I do a top list, it doesn't mean I'm going to buy every stock on that list, because there'll be stocks in there that I might think are stinkers. Absolutely. It just boils down to, like, I will set the criteria and I'm going to say, look, okay, these are the top stocks that are, in this criteria. Doesn't mean I like them all. Doesn't mean I want to add them all. Oh, God, no. I think it just more or less gives you an idea. Like, in a sense, I like to give you guys the idea of how to think when you're looking for stuff, how to find stuff. That's kind of my goal. My goal is that when somebody comes to this channel, and let's say they watch videos for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. If they've hit 5 years, I don't know how, because we haven't quite got there yet. But hey, why not? I'm hoping at the end of that time, they're going to be able to sort of have a good idea of what to look for when they look at a stock, a good idea to, or an ETF. I think, yeah, that's the whole overall thing. It's just sort of how to think, how to find, how to be critical. Like, you know what? If I pick a stinker, I do not mind. I really don't mind being called out on it, for sure. But it's funny. A lot of times I get called. I actually got called out the other day on an HYLD video, from July. So the other day somebody called and said, I don't know what's wrong with you, but that yield is not that high. And I was pretty much just replying like, yeah, they've gone up more than $1 in price since January, or since July. It was that high in July. But yeah, sometimes, and that's the thing. And I don't think it's, sometimes if you click on a video, it's in your feed, you just assume it's recent. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes you got to sort of look at the date, especially if you're looking at a stock video and it's like, those numbers seem a little off. It might be that the video is older. If you were to grab one of my videos, like from 3-4 years ago, I I'm sure that those numbers are not even remotely anywhere near where they're at today on whatever ETF or whatever stock we were looking at. Doorpat, do you think this downturn will continue into 2026? When will the market start booming due to rate cuts, QE, so qualitative easing, and of course midterms in the US, waiting to gain more TFSA, HFSA room in January? So yeah, you're getting more room in January. That part we don't have to worry about. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting how 2026 rolls out. Now, there's a lot of stressors in the economy, and I predicted a recession for this year. I predicted a recession. Well, we didn't get it. The economy seems to be doing its own thing. The Canadian economy seems to be doing a lot better than we should have. And and I don't want to get political on this, but I just want to say that the overall trend of Canada opening up more and more trade corridors with other countries outside of the U.S. has really helped dampen that damage quite a bit. That, and at the same time, the explosion of our critical mineral sectors, so it's particularly gold, that has really, really helped prop up. That's propped us up. Also, the stability of the banks, that's another huge factor. So I think a lot of that will move into 2026. So a lot of the red that we're seeing right now, a lot of the craziness and volatility, I think a lot of that will peter out. I think January, I kind of expect January to be a little calmer than what we've been seeing over the last while. So I'm thinking we'll see a little bit less volatility. Will we have a red January? Hard to say. Keep in mind, if we do get a significant Santa Claus rally at the end of this year, we're going to start January on a bump. So that alone might skew the results into a green January, even if it turns out to be a flat month, or even if we overall mostly move down in January, but that bump keeps us above the green. We'll have to sort of see how it's going to look. I haven't really fully digested what I think is going to happen in January, but I will tell you this. One of the things I do every year is as we enter the new year, that's when my prediction videos start dropping. And speaking of prediction videos, tomorrow's video, we're going to take a look. We're going to rate. We're going to grade one of my first prediction videos that I made for 2025. So I predicted 5 stocks that I thought were worth watching. So we're going to see how they did. I'll tell you this, one of them did really well, one of them didn't, and the others were somewhere in between. But yeah, it's always fun. I like to hold myself accountable like that. So I also I think I did a sector ETF one as well at the beginning of the year. I'm gonna review that one, and then of course I'm also going to be reviewing as we get closer to the new year my overall predictions for the economy and just the whole environment. We'll look at that. That one's going to be funny enough. My big prediction video where I make 10 predictions on on the world and all of that. I've actually been doing pretty good with that one, but I'll tell you, I can't remember what they are, what predictions I made for 2025, but I'll tell you, I have a feeling that this year has been so odd, so off that I'm expecting to be I'm expecting to get a failing mark this year. I am expecting to get a failing mark on that one. Well, I know one thing I got wrong right away. I predicted a recession. That didn't happen. So I know best I can do is 90%. Best I can do is 90% right away. And I'm sure, that there's going to be more in there. That's wrong. I'm pretty sure I probably predicted a strong year for energy because I really felt good about energy coming into 2025. But yeah, that didn't happen. So 80% might be the best now. And I really don't think I'll be lucky. I think I'll be lucky if I get 40% this time around. We'll see. We'll see. I really want to take a peek at them, but I'm not gonna. I'm pretty much not gonna look at it because I always should do that one. I don't make a video out of that one. I make a video out of my new predictions, but I like to do that one on a live stream. So that way there I can pull them up and we can, I can be as surprised. I can be surprised about what I may have predicted as you guys are. Now you guys can go back and watch it if you want and know ahead of time. But nonetheless, it's going to be interesting. All right. Scott says the stream delay means you might have to ring that bell a little earlier than 4 p.m. on your computer. Yeah, I mean, right now, so on StreamYard, I think my stream delay is roughly 15 seconds. So I think it's roughly 15 seconds. Well, here, I'll give you a test. If one of you wanna do this, so I will tell you the exact time, and from the moment I tell you that time, just look at your time and see how many difference it is in seconds. So I'll use the computer clock, so that way there, if you're using a computer, I think they're mostly standard, but my clock right now says 4:26 exactly. So 4:26. So, how many seconds is it past that? That is the delay. Let's see, Rory, I don't go out and buy everything Perry does, that's for sure. So Perry, PII verse, right? Yeah. I like I say this way here, even if I show you something that I like, I wouldn't just go buy it. I would not just go buy it. I would, what you should do is you should take a look and say, okay, wait a minute. Does this make sense for me? Let me do my own research. Let me pull it up. Let's see what's going on. And you could very well pull it up and say, I think Candace is dreaming a little bit on this one. Yeah, nope, not for me. And that's perfectly fine. Chad says 4:03 market close bell. I hope it's not that long. I hope the delay isn't that long. Maybe. You know what? Here's the funny thing. So the delay yesterday on OBS, it was long. I was like, holy cow. So right now, I do not know how long the delay, but I know that the delay has normally been about 15 seconds on here, because there's a couple of settings, and one of them is a less delay, and I have it on the least amount of delay. But maybe it was changed on the back end of YouTube. Well, let me know. I mean, once I get caught up, I'll see what you guys said the time difference was. Cowboy says the rich people don't want us invited to the party. Oh boy, yeah. Well, I mean, maybe if you're serving drinks, someone's got to serve the rich folk the drinks, Rory says if you have a $50 bill in your wallet, you're doing pretty good. I do not have a $50 bill anywhere. Let's see. What about a brown one? A brown one what? I don't know what a brown one is. All right. I got paid today by Canoe. There's a buck. Oh, you gotta like that. Let's see. And silver, another all-time high. Glad I loaded up in 2022. Nice. That $50 was a deuce when I was a kid. Let's see. I got paid $100 in my TFSA and $100 in my RRSP from Canoe. Yeah, Canoe is reliable. That's what I like about them for sure. All right. Claude says, I'm not clear on why Broadcom stock is down. That much is down that much. CEO would have said something investors didn't like. Are you aware? There was a lot of, initially, there was a lot of talk about some of the AI jitters and that. They were getting into the whole thing that a lot of the money being used to fund the AI data centers was not coming from banks. It was coming from private lenders. So higher interest rates, more margin. So there was that whole thing that got everybody sort of up in a tizzy about it on Friday, and that really helped. That really helped Broadcom. Now they kind of took a bit of a brunt of it. I think they'll still be fine though, but that's my understanding. If there's more to it, I haven't yet heard about it. But while that happens, I got a couple other little things going on here. We got Paul. Paul is in with a super sticker for $1. So that gives Paul GOAT status, GOAT, greatest of all time, in there, into the corral there. I love it. We got two in there now, but But we're not stopped there yet. We're not stopped yet because the wonderful Mary also has a super sticker in 149. That's our, whoops, I got to click on the right button. That is our third goat of the day. So our corral is getting full. So we're one away from a tomorrow show. Fantastic. And we do have a fifth goat. We have a fifth goat. So if we hit the show and you want to see the goat, the first time we go to 5, we're going to see that goat. Now, I will point out, though, this is a limited time because this goat's not going to be here for a long time. So if you think about that, that's a hint. There's probably a theme to this goat that, I don't know, perhaps we wouldn't be showing in January opposed to December. Just saying. So this is a goat you may not see again until, well, maybe next December. Anyway, that's your that's your hint. That's your hint. All right, now let's get back to where we were. Rory says $50 bought a lot of stuff back in 1990. Yeah. Oh, I remember when I was a kid. My mom sent me once to the store to get some milk. And, she gave me, I think she gave me a $5 bill or something. And there was another $5 bill stuck on the back. She said I could keep the change. Well, she didn't know she gave me $10. So I had $5 plus a little bit of change left over from the milk. And I think it was milk and bread or something. But I was like rich for that afternoon with 5, literally it was about $7 in total. But yeah, I just went crazy. I bought so much stuff with that. But, not today. Not today. Well, the $7, you might be able to buy one milk. I think. I honestly don't know how much milk costs. Michelle says, good afternoon. Paul says, well, blocks down 7.81%, but HBTE down 8.28, still almost the same, but blocks trades in after hours up. At least it's up. Okay, 0.74. All right, 8.28%. Okay, yeah, in reference to the HBTE. Rory, Brian, you split it between the two accounts with Canoe. I just have it in the TFSA. There we go. All right. Well, I checked out the press release Harvest had for the new semi-weekly ETFs. They are coming out with not all that. They're coming out with not all that excited about them. It'll be interesting to see a little bit more about them. Now, I don't know. I don't think they're semi-weekly. They're probably going to be semi-monthly. That's what I think, but I don't know. I haven't actually looked at the frequency of them. I know we looked yesterday. I think we went over there yesterday and looked to see what we had. Paul says in the last 4 minutes, the sellers flushed it down to 475.31, so plus 3.56%. There was a gap up from before. Okay, all right. So yeah, Tesla. What can we say? Brian says, I was heading towards mostly dividend stocks for retirement. That's why it's in both portfolios, 75 to 85% dividend stocks and ETFs. Rory says, I'm buying more Canoe on Monday or Tuesday at XDiv. All right, rumor has it, if we get another show tomorrow, doesn't that mean we hit the additional 10 shows required for something? $50 to each viewer from Candace? That's, no, that's not what it is. But yes, if we hit, I guess will hit, looks like we're going to hit it. So what that means is on that last market close of the month, we're opening up the entire month of January. Meaning that if you guys want, you can pre-order as many shows as you want through January. You can you could technically make me work all the way through January. I'm okay with it. But yeah, that's what we were going to do. We're just opening that up for that. And, obviously we wouldn't have if we don't hit it. But at this point, we're going to hit it. Let's just say we're going to hit it. So anyway, that's what we'll do. I don't anticipate, I honestly don't anticipate somebody coming in and saying, oh, I want you to work all the way through January. I'm just gonna gift 100. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't think, but you never know. I'm just always open to stuff. That's the way I look at it. And keep in mind, all of the extra January shows that get added at that point, they're all going to have that new format. So starting at 3:30, with that extra little bit of market analysis at the beginning as well. Cowboy says OpenAI ordered 40% of Samsung memory chip production for next year. Okay. I mean, there's a lot going on. I mean, I know there's people that are skeptical of AI, and and I've seen some of the stuff. I've seen that whole circle thing where it looks like everything is just sort of moving around and all getting recycled in manufacturing. A whole bunch of input and need which may not be there, but the reality is they are still spending a ton of money on these data centers, and this is not something. If this were a losing bubble type situation where everything was about going to come crashing down, I don't think they would be in this situation. I don't think they would be spending the amount that they're spending. AI is going to be transformative, and it's coming. Well, I mean, technically it's here, but it's going to keep going. I think it's going to keep going. All right. Brian says I sold 950 shares of Canoe. I have 1,000 in each account still. Okay. Well, you had quite a few. You had quite a few at one point. Yeah, weed was down 4.58% today. And that's what I was talking about. That's what, yeah, I mean, I was trying to say to you guys on Friday that just be careful with these weed stocks, because this was a buy the hype situation. That's what I was thinking. And the last thing I want is for you guys to be caught up in the glamour of weed. Because, you just find yourself after weed, you just find yourself just laying there eating potato chips or something. I don't know. I've never actually done weed, so we'll leave it at that. Bismarcky, good afternoon. I just listening in the car on my 5-minute commute home. Nice. All right. Rory, Mr. Burns and his majority government prospects. On Friday, I had a mean reversion red dot at 345. 200 shares of EIT will be enough for me. That was, I figured that was on weed. I remember you mentioning it. Actually, I think you mentioned it yesterday. Have a new YouTube profile picture. You do. I've noticed that. I did notice that. I looked at it first and I was like, who is that? And then I was like, oh, wait, no, that's Paul. Very cool. Let's see. Mr. Burns is a owner of a blind trust. He's trusting that we are too blind to see it's a scam. There we go. All right. And I know what you're talking about. Cowboy, you keep sneaking it in. Okay. I just wanted to very, very quickly. All right. We have. Brian has gifted a Mountain Finance membership. Congratulations to Mr. Roychek. Mr. Roychek won. And that means Brian is a goat. Brian is a goat. But Brian doesn't stop there, does he? Nope. He wants to see the new goat. Well, this is number 5. You get to see the new goat. Are you guys ready for this? Here we go. Oh, I love that. Anyway, there is our new goat. Our new goat, guys. Oh, gosh. I have to compose myself now. I love that. I love that goat. So I gave a big long prompt over there to Sora. And when Sora came back with that, I just burst out laughing. I was just like, this is the funniest thing I've seen in a bit. So, yeah, that's the new goat. And guys, we have a show tomorrow. So, let me very quickly here turn off the Nightbot. There we go. Nightbot is turned off. Ah, I love it. I love it. All right, let's see here. Paul says Motley Fool gives stock picks for stuff they already bought and looking for exit liquidity. That would not surprise me. To be honest, that would not surprise me. But I'll just say this: they allegedly do that. I don't have evidence. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me. Brian says Friday in the bad market was my fault for a 666 dividend. I was close again today at 667. Yes, I remember. And we went off on that tangent about Burger King and the heavy cheese chicken sandwich. Doorpat says, "Oh, I was asking specifically about U.S. markets." Okay. Now I just have to scroll back and see what you were asking, because it's yeah, I think it's buried. I think it's buried. You may have to ask me again. You may have to ask me again. Cowboy, the Canadian economy is a mess. The government is not giving truthful information. We lost more full-time jobs than they admit to. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I you know, does government keep things from us? Probably. If I was the government, I'd keep things from you. Uh, nothing bad, but I'm just saying there's probably things that people don't need to be super aware of. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see, 10 to 11 seconds. Okay, that's not bad. 10 to 11 seconds is not bad. Yeah, Brian says, I used my computer clock with your message. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, let's see. Scott says, when you said you were 15 seconds late and you were actually getting dangerously close to 4:01, I was closer to 30 seconds. I was closer to 30 seconds. It might even have been 40. I don't know. By the time, because I rang the bell the second I saw it, and then I looked at the time again. So it could have been closer to 40. But I'm gonna say 30. That'll be my story. I'm sticking to it. Let's just tomorrow will be closer. Cowboy, you always say do your own due diligence. Can't be held responsible for what other people do. It's true. It's true. But at the same time, if every single person who watched my videos, if none of them did their due diligence, then I would feel bad, because that would mean that one of my goals is not being met. Like, my goal is to give you guys the tools, like that whole fisherman thing, right? Like, you can give a man a fish and he's got a meal, or you can teach a man to fish and he can feed his family for well, until they run out of fish in that river and he's overfished it. But that's kind of my goal here. All right. Bismarcky, maybe 2026 is the year for energy. I want to be bullish on energy, and I'm going to be slightly bullish. I'm going to be cautiously bullish. And there's the word, cautiously bullish on 2026. Like, I think energy will have a better year than 2025, but I don't think it'll be I don't think it will be a banner year. Like, I don't think we're going to see energy just explode. Now, mind you, and this is always a caveat with energy, all it takes is a black swan event, especially Middle East type event, that could certainly not plunge, but cause oil to skyrocket. But that's always on the backdrop. But, without there being a black swan event, I think right now we're at a point where inventories are pretty high. OPEC has increased production, even though OPEC sort of says, well, inventories I think are a lot tighter than everybody says they are. I'm just very cautiously optimistic on oil and energy in 2026. And that, even a month ago, I was a little more optimistic than I am today. But I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. Ian says, Blossom says it was a green day for me by a hair. Well, okay. Although, keep in mind, so many times. Oh, Blossom says, all right, I was thinking Wealthsimple for a second. I don't know how accurate those Blossom charts are, only because I don't know if they if they're using your adjusted cost base on that, or how they're actually judging, or how they're verifying it. I know people had problems with Blossom, and I know that was something that they were working on. So I don't know if that's accurate yet, but I know that that's something they want to improve on. Cowboy, our new store has safety instructions saying not to let children play in oven. Also, don't dry pets in oven. Shows how ridiculous. Really? I know. Sometimes you have to put crazy warnings on stuff. In some cases, it's just sometimes the warning is just so that you you have something you can fight with if there's ever any kind of a liability type suit. Ah, boy. Brian says it makes you wonder why they have to explain that in so much detail. I know. It's like, don't climb in oven. Or, don't stick head in oven while oven is on. I mean, oh boy. To me, if somebody's sticking their head in an oven while it's on, I think there's deeper issues there than a warning. I don't even know if a warning would stop somebody who's going to do that. I mean, I suppose somebody could stick their head in the oven to see if the burners are on, but I still think that would be a bad idea. I think that would be a very bad idea. Cowboy says, I believe the Mrs. Grump comment would perfectly in this spot. I don't know what that is. D-Hit says, just watch Gary Gill and Kyle. Considering Gary saying he's not worried about MSTE crashing, he sure talks about it a lot. Almost bought MSTE when it was $6. Glad I didn't. Into the fours now. Oh boy, yeah. I thought there would be more pain for MSTE, and here's the one problem. This is another problem. Let me give you one more problem with MSTE. So, because of that loss of upside potential when you're dealing with covered calls, if we get a situation where Bitcoin keeps going from 85,000 to 90 or 95 or 96 and keeps moving up and down like that, you could get a situation where it's coming back, it's recovering pretty quickly from these trips to the 85 line, and that's losing some of the upside on that ETF, and then it's coming back down, and then the ETF, of course, it's going all the way down with its leverage and everything, and then doing the same thing. So if you get this sort of accordion cycle like that, that could potentially hurt MSTE a little bit more. So just putting that out there, just because that is the way it works. So yeah, it's kind of that thing. Like, I won't hold as much as I think MSTE will be fine on the other end of everything. I'm much more happy holding something like HHIS, which has exposure to MSTE without being in that full game. I guess the closest I have to MSTE is, HBTE. So that one, it's going to suffer a little bit, but I'm okay with that. I have it for income. It's designed as an income, and I'm okay with it. It was nice while it exploded. It was nice when it was like more than 100% total return in my portfolio, but at the same time, it is there for the income. Let's see. Scott says, I was surprised I was in the green today. Thanks, bank and eBank. Yes, absolutely. The banks have been doing well. eBank is one of those ETFs as well that a lot of people ignore it. A lot of people don't even think about it. It doesn't cross a lot of investors' minds because, it's a niche product. You're looking at European banking sector, and the European banking sector has been pretty resilient, even with all of the tariffs and everything else. So what can I say? All right. Oh, Sophia says, do I need US dollars to buy HYLD.U if I hold it in my TFSA? Any U.S. dividend withholding tax to pay? Any. All right. So, good question. So, no, you do not need to buy. If it's pegged to the U.S. dollar, you can still buy it. It's still trading in Canadian. So you're buying it in Canadian dollars, but the actual asset itself is then pegged to the U.S. dollar. So you don't have to buy it in U.S. Do you have any withholding tax to pay? No, not to say, I'm not saying there's no withholding tax, but there's no withholding tax that you pay. So when you look at HYLD, anything that they're holding that has dividends, well, those dividends before HYLD has them, they would potentially have some withholding tax on them. Now, here's the good part about it is they're tech heavy. A lot of the tech companies have a lot of them have no dividends, and those that do have dividends have very, very small dividends. So you're not really looking at much when it comes to HYLD. I think you're pretty safe. Like I wouldn't be worried at all in that situation. Brian says, I want to see the special goat as well. Now, that goat looks demonic. Really? I thought it was funny. I just thought it was funny. Anyway, it's here till the holidays are done. That's hilarious. That laugh was worth a buck. Rory gives up and crosses the floor to the Liberals. Oh, that's kind of funny. My buying power is $6.68, $6.67. Enter button to close. There we go. Doorpat says, it's my previous question on expecting a red first few months in 2026, and if or when the money printing midterms will start inflating assets. Need to know if to sit in cash for a while. U.S. markets. Okay. So you were talking more about the U.S. market. All right, I got it. One thing to keep in mind with midterms, because we have a red government right now, they might be trying to buy some votes. So they might try to keep the economy going well up until the midterms. Now, that's normally how it happens. We do have Trump, so that doesn't always translate into following what normally happens. But if we base it on that, the market should be good up towards November. That also probably means that there's no way the government's going to allow for a recession to set in the United States not before midterms. I think Trump will do everything in his power to prevent that from happening. So yeah, it's going to be, it'll be choppy. I think there's going to be some choppiness. I think we will have some very interesting movements up and down through that cycle. But I think overall, we're probably going to see a pretty good looking market, I think, on the U.S. side, at least until the midterms. After the midterms, oh boy, that could be another story. But we'll get there. They're going to kick that can down the road for sure. Let's see. It's dangerous to give a fool a gun, especially a nail gun. Oh boy. All right. Candace, will you do a market sector review for 2025? If you guys want me to do one, I can do a market sector. Yeah, well, I kind of do anyway. I certainly like to look back at 2025 on the other side, and we'll definitely do it. I don't know if it'll be like one video that's like market sector review for 2025, but definitely in the year-end live stream, we look back. I look back on the previous year quite a bit. So yeah, you're going to get all of that. You will get it for sure. Ian, do you guys ever look at a stock just because it's got a silly ticker symbol? I was just thinking of YOLO. It's a weed stock. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of neat. Especially when somebody gets a ticker that absolutely describes what they are. Like, look at Bank. That's a great ticker. 60, once again, sticking to the Evolve, but that's a great ticker. It's the big 6, so you got it in there. And the 60 kind of plays on sexy. So that's a smart move. And there's a whole bunch that do things like that for sure. And of course, now, let's just look. I'm talking about ones I like, but let's talk about companies that perhaps weren't so good. Cans. So CANS. They made cans. So But they turned out to be a bit of a dud. They turned out to be a bit of a dud. A lot of people lost money on cans. I think their actual company name was it Wild Pack Beverages, but had a cute name, had a good name, good branding, but they never lived up to expectations. Rory, if you have an IQ north of 85, you're good. Nowadays, yeah. I wonder. I would love to see some statistics on the average IQ. Let's just say, I don't want to say, let's say world. I'd love to see what the average world IQ is by year, and is it still going up, or are we starting to head down? Be interesting to see. I don't know. I've never really looked at that before. Paul says, look at the price of gas being low. Don't think energy will make a lot. Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, gas is low right now. Like I said, I think energy will have a better year, but not by much. Not by much. Brian, funny how Trump did the prisoner deal with Belarus to allow them to send potash to the U.S. just after saying he needs to produce it at home. Not much chance. And tariff Canadian potash. Yeah. Trump is one of these people that quite literally give him a golden little statue and you'll probably get favors from him. He's very superficial in that way for sure. All right, now Saskatchewan is rumbling with new separation talk. Committees are forming in the province. I haven't actually heard anything of the new stuff, but oh well, we'll have to see where this all ends up. I'm very adamant that I like Canada. I like all of Canada. I like the West. I like the East. I like the Atlantic. Even the North. I like the North too. I I really don't want to see separation. I don't want to see separation at all. But I don't have. It's not like I have enough power to stop it. But I certainly hope it never comes to that. Cowboy will still be buying oil and gas. There is nothing to replace it. Plus, plastic is a product of oil. Yeah, I mean, oil, gas. It's it's not that. I don't think it's that there's less demand. I think the demand is fine. I think it's just more or less whether we've got a surplus. That tends to be part of the issue. But we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. Let's see. Blossom checks prices multiple times per day, but at the close, if market, it might not have checked yet. Okay, fair enough. That is true. Let's see. Saskatchewan is tired of playing the clown show. Let's see. Getting there. There are put and call spread options, income ETFs in the USA, but if the price gets in the middle of the spread, it's not so good. All right. HYLD.U is in USD. Yeah, it is priced in USD, but you can buy it. You can buy it in Canadian. My understanding is that you're not going to pay a like a conversion fee or anything like that. Other than exchange, HYLD is in Canadian and hedged to the CAD. Let's see. I just sold HYLD in TFSA. Brian, do a super chat. I double dare you. Oh boy, I'm gonna have a coffee. Rory says Brian's wallet is loaded. Let's see. Trump will fire and not release any information on a recession. Let's see. Yes, Ian, I bought a YOLO stock 3 weeks ago after seeing a video on it. I bought 1,000 share, 28 cents 3 weeks ago, and it's up 35% in 3 weeks. I'm holding it forever. Okay. Brian says, maybe tomorrow's show. All right. PetSmart. Woof. There. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Or if they could have had Meow. Does anybody have? I honestly don't know. All right. It's exploratory surgery time. We're going to find out if there is a Meow ticker. I'm kind of... What? How is there not a Meow ticker? If anybody here wants to start a cat-focused company, The meow ticker is apparently up for grabs. I can't believe there's not a meow. Huh. It's kind of funny. Kind of funny. Scott says, sorry, Petco. Brian says, I own one weed stock, Canara Biotech in Quebec. Still up on it as a penny stock on the venture market. Ticker, love, a few hundred play. Okay, interesting. Let's see, Northwest Territories is crumbling too. Northeast BC, UK, Northwest Territories, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Republic. Yeah, well, there's the thing. I mean, if all of these were to separate, are they going to stay separate or are they going to maybe form another country? I don't know. I mean, I mean, I'd love to be able to jump in a time machine and go ahead about 100 years and just sort of look and see what everything looks like. Scott says Belarus allowed drones to fly over their country to strike Western Ukraine. Nice, shows where Trump allegiance lies. Well, Trump has already said a lot of things. Like one of the things that he has said in regards to Europe is that if they're not contributing enough to NATO, he doesn't really care about defending them that much. So, there's Europe has been, like Europe overall, they have been spending a lot more on defense, and some countries are even considering conscription to get their troops up. So, there's a lot of interesting plays on on the go for sure. Paul says some countries have a tradition of marrying your cousins. IQ could be affected. Yeah. Well, it doesn't always I do not want to defend marrying cousins. I'm not going to defend that. But yeah, I mean, the whole idea of laws against that type of thing is that when you are looking at genetic diversity in a smaller group, there's a better chance, like especially within a family that's a couple of people, like there could be some recessive stuff going on, and two recessives, all of a sudden, half of their kids could potentially be born with a very rare disease that you kind of have to, it's a way of concentrating recessive genes, and sometimes that does not work out very well. It's one of the reasons, like first cousins, yeah, there's a higher chance. Second cousins, it gets reduced more. I still think you shouldn't marry your second cousin, but just saying. Rory, inbred children look like goblins. Oh boy, how did we get there? Heard George W. had a IQ of about 90. Oh, interesting. Ooh, purr. Oh, do we have a purr? We don't have a meow. Maybe they took purr instead. Let's see. We got a purr here. Couple of different purrs. In the U.S., it's Hyperliquid Strategies, but in Canada, Panther Minerals. Okay. That ties into Panther. I like it. There's a Bark stock. All right. I kind of want to see Bark. Let's take a look. Black Spruce Exploration. That makes sense. Black Spruce. They have bark. They've got bark. And wolf. Yeah, we looked at wolf earlier. Rory says in 100 years, zombies will still be voted in. Oh boy. You guys. Oh, I'm actually caught up. How did that happen? Cowboy, that would explain Prince Charles and the rest. Well, if you can't beat them, join them. There we go. All right, guys, we're getting close. We're getting close to the end. We're not there yet, but if you got your last minute questions, get them on in. The questions keep coming. I keep talking. That's the way it works. Coming up tomorrow, and if you're a channel member, you can watch it right now. We are going to take our first look at a video from January. So we're going to take a look. January, I made some prediction videos. One of them was 5 stocks to watch. So I'm going to rank them. I'm going to grade them. Do I get A+? Do I get an F? We'll find out in that video. I think it's a lot of fun. So, and I'm going to, there's a couple others that are going to get reviewed before we're done all of this. But for now, Tuesday, that's the one coming out. Not sure yet when that interview on 9 Points coming out. I haven't heard back from them yet. So I'm hoping that's Friday, but I will still prepare another video just in case they're dragging their feet on it. So what can I say? Scott, have you heard about the Habsburg jaw? No, I don't think I have. Oh boy, I'll Google. Oh, should I Google it? Can I trust an evil Scott? That's the question. Let's see. Habsburg jaw. Oh boy. Okay. I see enough here that it is genetic. Oh, it's that. I've seen this picture before and that kind of distinctive looking jaw. So that might be a recessive jaw. That might be a kind of a recessive thing that shows up in some of the royal families, because the royal families, like, because you have to be a royal, that does limit the amount of genetic genes in the pool for sure. Interesting. Yeah. I have seen that before. Do you talk about reinvested distributions by firms that produce ETFs and how they work? Do I talk about them? Not a lot. Other than, yeah, I mean, and I'm just trying to, this question is odd. You've got, Rory, this is an oddly worded question. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, when you reinvest your distributions, that is not a bad thing, because all of a sudden you end up compounding that. If you're not taking the money, obviously, if you're reinvesting them, yeah, you're going to slowly compound the income that you're getting. So it's going to increase time over time. But let's see. But now you're talking about reinvested distributions by firms that produce ETFs and how they work. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what you're asking. So I'm kind of saying, do I know about reinvesting dividends? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Or distributions. Be more specific, Rory. Be more specific. I feel like I'm not answering your question, but I don't know how I'm not answering your question. Let's just go with that way. Cowboy, Biggie in a slump, do you think the distribution will drop? It's a good question. Let's actually bring up Biggie. Let's bring up Biggie. Here we go. So, of course, Biggie is that new Evolve one. So the Evolve US Ultra Yield here, right here. And yeah, I mean, they've, let's actually pull up, we'll just pull up the 3, now we'll go with the 6 months here, just so you can sort of see, yeah, they're in a little bit of a slump. Do I think that they're going to cut the distribution? I don't think they'll cut the distribution. That doesn't mean they won't. So I want to be clear on that. Right now, this thing is designed for a certain level of volatility. It is also designed for income. So it's not really designed to be growing a ton. I think we're still within a pretty normal standard deviation that I'm not super worried yet. A lot of what they're holding right now has been, it's been going down, and that's a normal thing. Like when you put together a ETF, so when you're designing an ETF like this, you have to, you're not designing it to always be in the good times. You are designing it as well to be in the bad times. And, whether it be a local volatility, whether it be a prolonged a bear market, sure. I mean, will we see a dividend cut on this one if we went into a bear market? We might. We certainly might. Now, the thing is, though, unless you've got a severe price drop in the asset price or the underlying assets, you normally don't have to worry too much about that in regards to the actual dividend. Where you run into issues with the dividend is if the volatility. So if they stop, if a lot of the assets they're holding become less volatile, they'll have to cut the dividend. There's no way around it, because that volatility allows them to charge for a higher premium, and that's the bigger component of that dividend. So right now, I don't think there's any danger, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when we go into a bear market, of course. Mr. Burns for PM. Yeah, that would be funny. It's like the opposition starts to complain and he's just like, release the hounds. I love it. Scratch says, I was AFK, but you got me in the chat, guys. This is Carney's wife jaw. Really? I don't know. Oh boy. I don't know about that. Oh gosh. Cowboy couldn't skip a rock in the royal family's gene pool. It's too shallow. Has anyone heard about the moose jaw? Oh God. All right, Paul says Biggie ETF has lots of crypto and AI and Mag 7 that are not doing well. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what we're looking at. Dehit says retired a year ago, have a lot of room in my TFSA, so when withdrawing RRSPs, my plan is to put them in the TFSA until it makes the equivalent of the taxes, then withdraw from the TFSA, then repeat. Good plan? Oh gosh. So yes and no. Let me just say this. So yeah, taking stuff out of your RRSP, moving it into the TFSA is a great plan. That's a wonderful plan because in your TFSA you can create tax-free income. Now I think you're talking about taking the stuff out of your TFSA, for example, the income. So the income being produced, you're taking that out of your TFSA. That's fine. I mean, if you're living off that, I wouldn't put it back into your RRSP though, because it sounds to me like you're putting that back into the RRSP. And I kind of see what you're going for. I think you're taking it out, putting that back into the RRSP as basically to lower taxes again, sort of to create this figure 8 of cash flow to try to minimize. Honestly, I don't know. I've never really thought about doing that, to be honest. I've never thought about the concept. I'd have to think a bit more about that D-hit to see whether you could create some kind of an equilibrium with that. The problem is, actually, here's the problem. It's not going to be you're not going to have an equal situation, right? Because if let's say you're pulling $10,000 out of your RRSP. So that's creating a $10,000 income event. You put that in your TFSA and you turn that into income flowing out. Well, obviously, let's just be very conservative and say you can pull out 10%. Let's just say you can get 10% back. Well, of that $10,000, that means you're going to get $1,000 back a year, which you're then going to put into your RRSP. Well, that means that what you've now done is you've turned that into a $9,000 event. So, in that 1 year. Now, if you take the other 10,000 out, you are still at that $9,000 event. So that if you did that yearly, you would be creating $9,000 of income. Now, mind you, in the second year, if you did that and you got $10,000 back, you could then potentially use the other $1,000 from the previous year, so you'd have $2,000. That could knock that down to $8,000. So I guess potentially after about 10 years, you could have a situation where, the money being generated could very well sort of compensate for that. But eventually you're going to get into limits and you're going to start hitting that limit in the TFSA. And if you're then only getting $7,000 in brand new contribution room, well, you get more than that. You get the $7,000 plus you'd be getting back all of the stuff you're pulling out of it too. So you're going to get that space back too. Holy banana bread. I think you're creating a very complicated system that I really don't see it being, what's the word? I just don't see it being profitable. I don't see it as being something that would work on the long scale. I would really, really work the math on that because I don't think the math is going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Brian says, I would want to keep as much in my TFSA for as long as possible. Drain the RRSP first, depending on tax bracket. Yeah, and that's a general idea. The whole meltdown RRSP meltdown is. It's there for a reason. It's there for a reason because one of the big concerns is that if you have a lot of money in your RRSP when your time is done, unless you have a spouse who's getting it, that's the one exception. A spouse can take it perfectly fine. But if you're leaving it to kids, they're going to take it at your full marginal tax rate. So that's something to be a little concerned about. Whereas they will get a better tax situation when it comes to if it were all in a TFSA at that point. Roku says, I think the repeat part does not include putting TFSA money back in the RRSP. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't. Like I said, I would need to see. I think I need to see that a lot clearer to understand exactly what DHIT is trying to do here. Oh, okay. No, I'm drawing down my RRSP, not putting back. Okay, there we go. That makes a lot of sense. That is perfect. That's part of the whole RRSP meltdown idea. So yes, if you have your RRSP and it's nice and big, and you've retired and you're sitting there, generally what I would recommend is, you can't just sort of pull it all out, fill up your TFSA, because you're going to take a big tax hit if you do that. So you want to, of course, be very cognizant of your tax brackets. And remember, guys, that can change depending on which province you're in. You want to look at your tax brackets. You want to figure out how much of a hit you can take and work within those tax brackets to figure it out. Now, keep in mind, the stuff that you are moving into your TFSA, if you're an income investor and you want to create that income for retirement, great. That's going to certainly help you with those taxes for sure. Or just creating that income to live off of. But yeah, you could certainly do that. I usually recommend just figuring out what, do the math still, figure out what hit. This is better. Oh my God. Like you had this big, I had this, have you ever seen that meme where it goes, it makes a bunch of like a modem sound and there's all kinds of figures and calculus and stuff floating in the air? That was what hit me when I read that the first time. I was like, what? What are we doing here? But no, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, absolutely. Paul, Harvest, a TSLY, let's see, 1 million plus 14.54%. Biggie, 1 million. Is that, are you talking about 1 million? I see 1M and I think 1 million. Or are you talking on the 1 month? I'm thinking you might be talking 1 month. I'm not sure. It's been a long day now, Paul. Let's see, HHIS 1M. I'll just say 1M. Then I don't have to figure out what it means. Minus 5.34%. Funny, a single stock cover call ETF wins. Oops. Sometimes, but there's also the potential that a single stock cover call ETF could lose because you do have that lack of diversity. Cowboy, can you move RRSP to TFSA without creating a tax event? No. There's that unfortunately you can't do. It is 100% taxable. Now, one thing, I guess, this is kind of free, but most provinces will let you make a certain amount of income before there's any taxes. So it might be 6,000, 7,000. I think Nova Scotia is probably the lowest amount that you can make. But if you are in a situation where you've got no income or your income is 100% coming out of your TFSA, but I mean, obviously, if you're at that point, you probably have at least OAS. And also, if you're really not making any money, you then would also have the GIS. So I can't even see a situation where that would happen. But, you would conceivably. Now, here's a situation where this could happen. If you have not yet started taking your supports, if you're under 70 or under 65, and let's just say you have a year where you're taking a year off for whatever reason, and you've got no income, then you absolutely probably, it's not a bad idea to at least take that the first tier where you are paying no taxes and move that into your TFSA, because that would be brilliant for sure. All right, Zonda in the house with a hello. Hello, Zonda. How are you? No one will be taxed. Let's see. Drawing put of TFSA to create room for more RRSP. I'm thinking of doing similar. Yeah, so drawing down the RRSP, like I said, it's a good idea. Your TFSA, I mean, it is so powerful. You just have to make sure, like I've said many times, don't do anything silly in there like day trade or excessive swing trading. And you'll be fine. And it's a great way to create a lot of tax-free income. You can create a lot of tax-free income in there, and it's not impacting any of your supports. So you can, if you utilize your TFSA the correct way in retirement, it can be a very valuable tool for making your life a lot easier for sure. Ian says, I'm starting to see a lot of drawbacks to the RRSP versus non-registered. If you double up on a stock in the non-registered, cap gains is 50%, double up it's 100%. Yeah. The RRSP, it's got, this is how I look at the RRSP. So during your working years, the RRSP has a couple of functions, and these are the only things you really should be using it for. One, if your job has job matching, or has RRSP matching. So yeah, in that case, absolutely. If I put $1,000 a month into my RRSP, my company will put $1,000 as well. Yeah, sure. You've just doubled your money. Do it. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. The second is if you do have a situation where you have a crazy amount of income in 1 year, it makes sense to put a bunch of that into your RRSP, because you're gonna pay a lot of taxes if you don't. And by putting it in, then the thought is you could pull it out after retirement when you're in a lower tax bracket and pay less taxes down the road. Perfect. That makes sense. The third option is, if for whatever reason you want to invest in some very high dividend US stocks, well, at least in the RRSP, you're not going to have to lose any of that to withholding tax. Mind you, you are going to pay tax on everything. Just you got to be aware of that, and that's kind of that thing. Some people, some investors will actually choose to put high dividend US stocks in a non-registered account opposed to the RRSP if they don't want to get that 100% tax situation. You would, in that situation, you're still paying your 15%, but you get a tax credit. You get a foreign tax credit with the Canadian government. So depending on which province you are in, you can get most of that back, depending on the province. Not all provinces are treated equal, unfortunately. Right, let's see, 100%. And you can use the money if needed anytime you want in a non-registered account. That's true. That is true. Paul, let's see. The take CPP at 60 versus 65. At 60, put your money CPP into CC ETF on DRIP. Set to no withholding tax each year. At tax time, select a few shares to pay taxes. Repeat for 5 years. At 65, take covered call ETF income. It depends. Here's the thing. There's a lot of argument on when should I take my CPP. So one thought is that, if you take it at 60 and you invest it, if you invest it correctly, you could potentially make more money with it than if you let it grow. But keep in mind, there's no guarantee. That's the one thing that really comes down to it. So I always look at it this way. Because there's no guarantee, I like to look at the health situation. If you got a family of people that live to be really old, like that's a normal thing in your family, there's an argument for letting it ride. Because then you can, pump up that amount. But conversely, if you have a family where there's a lot of health issues, there's history of heart disease, and not many people make it very old. Like, let's just say you don't have very many relatives that make it to 80. In that situation, I would be 100% towards pulling it out, pulling the CPP at 60, and then then look at investing it, whether it be covered call ETFs or whatever at that point. But I always like to say, do the math, create your spreadsheets, and that will help you figure it out. Now, if you are not an income investor, covered call ETFs, the one danger is if you do pull it at 60 and then you go into a bear market, well, that could hinder what you could have made a little bit. But it's not as bad with covered call ETFs because you're still going to get that income while while we go into a bear market or whatever happens with the economy. All right. Ian says, I was planning on pulling dividends from my RRSP in January. Now I might leave my RRSP alone until December 2026, just in case I work next year. Okay, fair enough. Rory, I have one redeemable GIC at 21K. Should I split it up between 5 funds paying north of 4%? Ideas? Yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, and GICs now, you're not going to get a lot of good rates right now, especially with interest rates coming down for the most part. So yeah, I mean I don't know what I would do with it, honestly. I probably would move it into investing at this point because I don't think you're going to get it. I don't think you're going to get great rates. Now, that's just what I would do. I mean, you have to decide for yourself, but all right. Holy banana bread. A WSP purchased another huge company. Do you believe the SP will drop tomorrow? That's a good question. I don't know who they purchased. I haven't heard anything about it. Well, obviously we've been on stream, but I don't know. 1M is 1 month. Okay, fair enough. Nova Scotia taxes on every cent. All others allow 15K before tax. Is it? Oh my God, it's actually right. Oh man. That was one of the things when I lived in Nova Scotia. One of my biggest complaints about Nova Scotia was the taxes. They're just so much. But yeah. Now that you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember looking at this a while back. I don't want to remember it, but I remember. Oh boy. Ian, if I can pull from my RRSP and keep my tax rate at 10%, I will be happy. Going to need my TFSA to do the heavy lifting, plus eligible dividends in the non-registered account. Perfect. 1M, just like your chart on the screen. Oh, yeah, exactly. Was offered 1.5% on GIC at the bank. Oh, God. Thanks, Candace. I'm aware of the tax brackets and will be about 200 below the next tax bracket. Perfect. That's what I was hoping to hear. Rory says, I have 4 GICs, 1 left, one of them redeemable for a possible bear market. Okay. To be clear, capital gains tax aren't 50%, they're on 50%. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, you're being taxed on 50%. And those are the capital gains tax. I should build a breakdown on capital gains tax one of these days, because I think it's one of those things that everybody thinks they know at 100%, but it is a little more confusing. All right. Brian says, time to head out. Have a great evening, everyone. Later, Brian. And Cowboy, let's see. The company's doing RRSP match. Limit your contribution match. No overtime. The allowed limited withdrawal can reclaim their portion. Yeah, there's limits on it. So obviously you would only go up until the limit, because a lot of times it might be, maybe we'll match $500 a paycheck up to a limit of X amount of dollars. So yeah, you absolutely want to be aware of any limits or any rules entangled into that deal for sure. Let's see. While working, was in BC combined tax bracket 28.2%, but retired now 22.2% tax bracket. And we each have $2,000 pension tax credit for DB pension income splitting with spouse. Perfect. Let's see. Rise at Well-Built Wealth latest video shows that taking CPP at 65 is the worst time. 64 or 66 is better. And after 66 could hurt you. It was interesting. Yeah, it really, I did a video a long time ago, and I actually I had a big chart that sort of showed you where the break even age was. So depending on when you took it. But yeah, if you have, like I said, if your family is, if you don't think you're going to live long, you probably want to take it sooner. It will mathematically, it'll make a lot more sense. When to take CPP will be different for almost everyone. It's very individualistic. Very, like I said, if if you're very healthy, and you have a family history that, everybody's living into their high 80s, 90s, you're going to definitely take it. For you, it'd probably be more advantageous to take it a little bit later than, like I said, somebody who doesn't have that health history and somebody who thinks they might be lucky to make it to 70. Let's see here. All right, let's see. Ian, convert your RRSP to RRIF before end of December. No withholding tax on minimum RRIF withdrawals. You still pay tax at tax time. Yeah, it's one of those ways, like you will not have to pay like that withholding tax on at least whatever the RRIF contribution is for that year. One of my YouTube subscriptions show up as Halifax. Oh, nice. I love Halifax. Well, I was born in Halifax, so. Cowboy, put my GIC into monthly divs, made a year interest equivalent first month. All right. And Roku says the current government is already spending the boomers' RRSP taxes. The future retirees will be TFSA millionaires and pay no tax on withdrawals. I wonder where the government will get their money. Well, keep in mind, though, when you guys think about, so when you think about, I don't even want to talk about the taxes per se, but when you think about the pension funds, a lot of people are like, oh my God, they're just going to run out of money. The CPP will run out of money. It's not going to be there when I get there. That's not true at all. There's a lot of things that happen with the CPP that people don't think about. For one, think of how many people pay into it and don't even collect it. Let's say they die before they finally collect. Well, all of that money, that's just, that's more spread into the pot. And of course, you also have the CPP Investment Board. So CCPIB. They're investing that money. They're doing a good job at it. So it's not like it's a fixed pool. It's a pool that is growing. So they're in better shape than I think a lot of people think. There's a big giant misconception that that money's going to be gone. Not really. Now there is one concern though. That one concern is that, they'll have to do really well because eventually we will get to a point where there's going to be more retired people than working people. And, that's another bridge to cross. But obviously, if they invest well, that may not be that big of a problem. Ian says, I don't mind a bit of withholding tax. Get it back if they withheld too much. Yeah, exactly. And see, I did GICs when I was getting 6% now. Shopping. A bunch of semi-retired and retired people here. Well, I think when I look at my analytics for the channel, most of the people who are here regularly are 40 plus. Like I don't have a lot of the under 40s. So I would say I can pretty much shake a stick. Now, there are some young people who are here. Absolutely. I don't want to discount any of them, but the average is like around, is basically 40 plus. So it's pretty interesting, actually. Great show. Thanks. Good night. Have a good one. I heard most people take it at 60. I will, unless something crazy happens financially. Scott says it also involves calculating RRSP meltdowns so you aren't forced at 71 to take more than you need. Yeah, absolutely. Math is your best friend. Trust me when I say this. Scratch says demographics are not in the people advantage. Maybe that's why the increased immigration so much. No, like if we don't have immigration, we're in trouble population-wise as a country. Our fertility rate is lower than the number we need to keep. Like we need to have a fertility rate of 2.1 to maintain our population. And I think our fertility rate, last time I heard, I thought it was like 1.9 or something like that. It's, we do need immigration, but we at one point had it too high, but that's fine. Let's see. All right, well, we're gonna leave that one alone, cowboy. Ian says, I turned 44 last month. Okay, there you go. So Ian is in the, he's in the right spot. All right, guys, this has gone longer than it should have, but that's fine. We're gonna be back here again tomorrow. We're gonna do this all over again. Keep in mind, check out the video tomorrow as well. Let's see how my predictions from last year did. I love these type of videos. I love them a lot. All right, until tomorrow, I will see you guys, and we will be back. Until then, take care, and